the long cry above the white cliff. High on the edge of a pale, sun-bleached cliff lived a young crow named Ravenna. She was clever, fast, and proud of the sharpness of her wings. Every morning, she would fly tight circles above the cliff's edge, practicing turns and dives, imagining herself one day becoming the strongest flyer of the entire valley. But there was one shadow that always fell across her heart. Far above her, so high that sunlight burned like silver on his wings, flew Orion, the golden eagle. He was enormous, graceful, and powerful, everything Ravenna wished she could be. Whenever he soared overhead, the wind bent around him with respect. Other birds fell silent. Even the trees seemed to stand straighter. Ravenna watched him with a mixture of admiration and envy. If only I could fly like that, she whispered to herself. If only I could rise that high. One warm afternoon, as she practiced gliding over the cliff, she heard a deep rumble above. Orion descended, wings wide as a storm cloud, landing on a ledge not far from her. His talons clinked against the stone like metal. Ravenna's heart hammered. She tried to stand tall. Orion glanced at her with calm, ancient eyes. Training again? He asked. His voice was steady, almost kind. Ravenna puffed her chest. I'm preparing, she said. For what? For the sky. All of it. Orion's beak curved in the faintest hint of amusement. The sky is large, he said. Larger than ambition alone. Ravenna bristled. She thought he was mocking her. I can fly as high as you, she insisted. Maybe higher. Orion did not argue. He simply looked toward the horizon. Height is not won by wishing, he said softly. It is carried by truth. Ravenna didn't understand, but she pretended that she did. Days passed. Ravenna's pride grew heavier, as if tied to her feathers. She watched Orion soaring effortlessly, and the jealousy inside her twisted like thorny vines. One morning, she decided she had waited long enough. I will show him, she declared. I will rise higher than any crow ever has. Without hesitation, she leapt from the cliff, beating her wings with fierce determination. The valley spread below her, green fields, distant rivers, and the soft gray curls of morning mist. She climbed fast, faster than she ever had before. But Orion was already far above, a glimmering speck of gold. Ravenna pushed harder. Her wings trembled. Her breath burned. Still she climbed. Clouds gathered around her like cold cotton. The air thinned. Her eyes stung with sharp wind, but the golden speck above seemed almost reachable. Almost. She stretched her wings wide, reaching for one final burst of height and lost control. The air thrashed around her. Her wings folded the wrong way. Panic swallowed her as she spiraled downward, the world spinning into a blur of gray and white. Then, suddenly, a strong wind pushed beneath her. A huge shadow wrapped around her like a shield. Orion had swooped down, catching the air just right and slowing her fall. He guided her toward a lower ledge, where she finally regained her balance, trembling from exhaustion. Ravenna collapsed on the stone, breathing hard. She felt humiliation burning behind her eyes. Orion remained silent for a long moment, letting the wind speak between them. You nearly broke your wings, he said at last. Ravenna lowered her head. I just wanted to be like you. Orion folded his wings gently. I was not born flying this high, he said. I learned, little by little, from truth, not from pride. Ravenna looked up confused. Truth, the truth of your limits, Orion said, and the truth of your strengths. Every bird has both. Ravenna stared at her trembling feathers. She had wanted to prove her worth so badly that she had ignored the warnings of the sky, the signs her body gave her, and the wisdom she did not yet have. Orion continued, the sky is not a ladder for proving greatness. It is a mirror. It shows what you are ready for and what you are not. His eyes softened. You have courage, Ravenna, more than many, but courage without patience becomes danger, and ambition without understanding becomes a fall. Ravenna swallowed. For the first time, she saw the truth reflected back at her, not in Orion's words, but in her own heart. I was foolish, she whispered. You were young, Orion corrected. And being young is not a mistake. staying blind is. The next day, Ravenna returned to the sky, not to chase Orion's height, but to learn her own path. She practiced balanced turns, steady breathing, and small, controlled ascents. Instead of competing with the golden eagle, she watched him, studied him, learned from the shape of the currents. Weeks passed. Her wings strengthened. Her mind sharpened. Her heart softened. One evening, as the sun painted the cliff in shades of honey and rose, Orion glided down beside her. "You've grown," he said. Ravenna smiled. "I've learned to listen." Orion gazed upward. "Come," he said. "Let me show you a wind you are ready for." Together, they launched into the open air. Orion guided her to a wide, rising current, a gentle, steady wind that carried her upward without strain. Ravenna felt herself lifted higher than she had ever reached safely before. Not as high as Orion, not yet, but high enough to feel a new clarity in her wings and her heart. As they hovered above the valley, Orion spoke. "Strength is not measured by how high you force yourself to fly, but by how wisely you rise." Ravenna looked over the vast world below, peaceful and bright, stretching farther than she had ever seen. For the first time, she felt no jealousy, only freedom. And her long, proud cry echoed across the cliff, not as a challenge, but as a song of understanding.